Welcome to this look at mods on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. These are mods for Wednesday the 3rd of March. I have got tonsillitis, so I'm trying to catch up on mods and mod reviews that I missed. So I'm not doing the updates, I'm just going to get straight in with this today. In front of me we've got the potato cellar. This is by Picer 23433 and Bartson V3. 7.32 megabytes download, 12 slots on console. This is seasons ready. I mean, it's a root crop cellar really. Potatoes and sugar beet. 13,500 litre capacity. Really nicely made and detailed. The texturing on it, the mottling and weathering. It's very cool. It's not too expensive either, so if you want to do a little bit of potato work or sugar beet, not on a huge scale, if you're just doing a sort of small farm operation, this will work really well. What we'll do is on the side panel, just open up that. If we come over to here, we install the conveyor belt, like so. That's for emptying it back out again when you're done. We've got a light switch around the side here, which puts the light on the inside and on the outside. Now if we come around to this trigger here, we can install the chute, which is technically for putting in. That's an aesthetic, I think, more than anything, because the actual trigger is just here in front. So when you want to put into the silo, you put it in just there. Taking out of the silo is done from under there, but you can have both of these closed off and it will work fine for putting in, but taking out, you do need to have the chute opened. This is under placeables and silos. 7,500 to buy, 13,500 litre capacity. Slot count will drop down from 12 to 1 if you buy any subsequent ones. You could have a few of those at that price, couldn't you? Have them dotted around your farm areas, whatever. Or just use it as an air raid shelter or something if you wanted to. It has that kind of look about it with a sweep down at the back. What we'll do is, let's grab this. We just go into here, it should say start filling, sugar beet or potatoes, animation on the conveyor as well. Very nice indeed. Awesome. That's by Picer 23433 and Bartson V3. I'm just going to close that off, turn that off, and put that away as well. Next, we have got this. This is the wooden barn. This is by Filip Player 54. 4.64 megabytes download, 11 slots on console. This is also seasons ready. Nicely detailed. I love the fact you've got gaps between the wood in certain places. Sort of a bit of shrinkage over time and that kind of thing. That's a nice feature. Small door opens this side. This is only for small vehicles and machinery. As you can see, the doors aren't very big. They're not very wide. But we do have a light on the inside. And the detail in here is just as, I mean, the inside with the tiles, all the timber frame construction, light switch is just there, very dark without it on. And we do have a bit of a hayloft as well. That's very cool. The level of detail on that, with only an 11 slot count, that's pretty impressive, that. So this is under sheds. The wooden barn, 20,000 to buy. Slot count will go down from 11 to 1 for any subsequent one you might want to place. Nice. All the knots and stuff on the wood as well. Little dings and scratches, and it's brilliant. Next, we'll go into the vehicles and stuff in a minute, but we've got this building. This is the community building. In essence, it's kind of like an emergency centre, medical centre, well, emergency services centre, I guess is the best way of putting it. This is by Neroxc. It's 19.33 megabytes download. It does say it's seasons ready. It's 33 slots on console, but you'll see why. I mean, it's huge. We've got the fire department this side, emergency doctor this side. It's kind of a building that encompasses a bit of everything. It's a pity we don't have fire engines and stuff like that on console. That'd be so cool. The odd police car and ambulance, just to add a bit to the narrative. I know people argue it's farming simulator, why do you want all that? But if you are doing a kind of narrative-based storyline, even if you're not a YouTuber, I know it adds a whole another dimension to it. All those doors open, so you can park larger vehicles and stuff inside here. Same with this side for your emergency doctor. Large parking area there with a separate side door if you want to use it. So we come in the main doors here. And this, I love this as well, look. So we've got on the upper floor, I think it is, yeah, upper floor, we got the mayor. We have got, I'm trying to think, that one was fire safety inspector and accounting. Then downstairs we have got the meeting room, we've got male and female toilets, we've got a treatment room, and we've got the police room office, if you want to call it that. So if we come around the corner here, I love it, it's so clever. Light switches everywhere, sort of main control room, interview desk. We've even got like a little cell here, which is interview desk or desk with a bed and a toilet. Or it might just be where off-duty policemen or policemen that are on a long shift might want to get their head down. But what is even better is this, and I've never come across this before. If I press circle, if I get into the lift and just wait, the lifts work. That is amazing. If I press for this lift, you actually have to wait for the lift to come because it's downstairs. So the lift actually has to arrive. Please work now, said that. Yeah, look. Oh, my throat hurts. Oh, man, that's amazing. Anyway, you can come up the stairs if you want. We'll go back down that way later on. So we've got the mayor's office just in there. We've got the, that was the fire inspector, wasn't it? Yeah, fire inspector's office. Then we've got accounting in there. And then we've got an exit out onto the balcony. If we go back downstairs, I'm just blown away by those lifts. I think it's amazing. A kind of waiting area here. If you have a meeting with the mayor or accounts. Oh yeah, the meeting room is in here. Lovely big windows. We can go back out into the corridor here. So we've got the male and female toilets just there, and then the treatment room here on the end. I love it. It's brilliant. Yeah, I know for me it's just the lifts that are just wow. We got the bins around the front. You got bits of parking your bicycles and that kind of thing. Very cool, very cool. This you'll find under miscellaneous. The slot count will drop down from 33 to 2, in case you want to put more than one of them on your map. 210,700 to buy. Not cheap, but you get a lot of bang for your buck on that. That's very, very, very cool. Okay, next up, we've got this. This is the small leveler. It's by HajstelMods and Picer. This is 2.67 megabytes download, 3 slots on console. You can raise and lower it. You can use it for levering your silage clamps, bunker silos. Now, weirdly, it's got that there, so I thought it would twist. I haven't been able to get that function to work. It could be because the tractors I was trying to use it with have got lots of options on themselves. Just bear with me a second, actually. It would appear it was just the tractors I was using. L1 and circle, I can lower and raise it automatically. I can also, with my right stick up and down, raise and lower it manually. And if I go to R1 and right stick side to side, I can get that twist on it if I want to push either way, like so. I thought I'd better check because it seemed like it was what it should do. So there we go. That you'll find under tools and levelers, 2,700 to buy, 2.1 meter width. We can change the design colour to anything on that palette. Main colour does the framework. Then stickers we can have standard or with kind of a warning strip across the front, like that. Next, we have got this. This is the Lizard BT9700 by GDB. This is 4.85 megabytes download, 5 slots on console. It's a small bale trailer, nicely detailed, straps that can be done manually or from in cab if you want to do them all on, all off, or just individually. It's not an auto load or anything like that. You'll find it under baling technology. 9,700 to buy. Slot count will drop down from 5 to 1. Options available. Main colour changes the main section and chassis. Rim colour changes the rim colour. The design colour changes the framework around the wood. Like that. Those are your options. And you can put bales on it, round, square, whatever you want. It'll probably do pallets as well because it just straps them down. Next, we'll have a look at these. These are, actually I'm going to need to open it again in a minute anyway. Deutz Fahr Agrotron Mark III series. This is by AgrarDesignAustria and Redcat 3D. 27.66 megabytes download. These are 24 slots on console. We've got a 6-cylinder and a 4-cylinder. I think that's right, isn't it? Very stubby, dinky little... I love them. Quite a few options on both of these. This one goes up to a maximum, I think, of 100 horsepower. That one 125, I want to say. But again, we will check in just a second. Really nicely detailed. Load of features and moving parts, doors and windows and light rigs and things like that. So under small tractors, we've got the 6-cylinder and the 4-cylinder. Both 31,000, so really cheap to buy. 24 slots, and then the slot count will drop down to 2 for any subsequent one. So under this one, we've got main colour. We can have new Deutz or a more faded old Deutz green. The weight carrier is one of those menus where you have to bounce backwards and forwards. You can have weight carrier, then it can go up in 100. It starts at 200 kilograms, so the weight carrier, I guess, is 100 kilograms. It then goes up in 100 kilogram increments all the way up to 1,100. If I go that way, you've then got these two options here of 3-point or 3-point with PTO. If I go back one more, that's the 1,100 kilograms. So like I say, it goes up 100 kilogram increments until we get to 3-point, then 3-point with PTO. Then we've got the option of Trelleborg, Michelin, knock-in, back-in. And the Trelleborg, we've got small tyres, larger tyres, wheel weights, wides, wider weights, even wider still, narrows old, narrows back to small. Under Michelin, we've got standard and wides. That's it under those. And then under knock-in, just communal with no options available. Then engine setup, we've got the Agrotron 106 at 100 horsepower, the 110 at 105 horsepower, the 115 at 125 horsepower, I was right. And then we've got the option of a front loader attacher, yes or no. And then the 4-cylinder, I think it's pretty much the same options for main colour, weight carrier. Again, I think this goes to PTO. Yeah, 3-point PTO. Options with Trelleborg, small, big, wheel weights. I'm pretty sure it's the same. Wides, wide again, yeah. Narrow tyres old, narrows, smalls again. Michelin standard and wide, and knock-in communal. And then this one has got the smaller engine sizes. So the Agrotron 90 is 88 horsepower, the 100 at 95 horsepower, and the 105 at 100 horsepower. The smaller of the two, also with a front loader attacher option available. What we'll do, we'll start the small one up first. It sounds brilliant. It does sound like it might just keep going and explode, but I love how small it is. Now, we do have some options. Lights, all round, horn, very nice. I'm going to open up my side panel. On L1, right stick side to side does the rear window. Right stick up and down does the front window. On R1, right stick up and down. Hang on, let's get the right ones. Right stick up and down does the sunroof. And right stick side to side puts your lights up. So if you're going under a lower obstacle, or you just don't want to damage them going into barns and buildings, you can put your lights up and down. And they will still operate while they're down. Let's put that down as well. Then on L1, R1, right stick side to side opens that door, and right stick up and down opens the other door. So, a few different options there. Interior, very nice indeed. Turn that off. No mistaking, you've got your hazard, your beacons on. I keep saying hazards, I meant beacons. Very nice. And then we've got the 6-cylinder. Although that does that sound the same to you? Maybe. All the same options for opening and closing of doors and windows. As we can see. Interior of this, pretty much the same as a few little bits and bobs here and there. But very nice. That's the Deutz Fahr Agrotron Mark III series by AgrarDesignAustria and Redcat 3D. Just turn that off, because that will annoy me. Next, we have got these. These are, I mean, I really like them. I like the look of them, the detail, the design. This one's a bit of a peculiar beastie. But anyway, this is the AGMP 310 plus Bodywork. And it's an interesting one. 37.21 megabytes download, 24 slots on console for the main body, and then the dry body back is 16 slots. This is by Erik, Isac and AgrotMods. So like I said, nicely detailed, nice colour options. There's a satin, I like the satins, there's a satin option. We've got options with aerials, we've got options with front suspension, we've got various different axle options. We'll have a look at those in a second. We can have a bale back or a grain back. A few different engine options as well. Now that's an arch one, that. If you know what that's for, because I'll be honest, I'd look online, I couldn't find anything about it. Pop it in the comments, let us know what's the arch bit for, but you'll see that on the options in just a second. Under trucks, we've got the AGMP 310, 110,000 to buy, starts at 310 horsepower. Slot count will drop down to 2 if you buy any subsequent ones. Options available. We can change the rim colour to anything on that palette, and we've got a few silver metallics and chromes, black chrome, greys and that kind of thing. Say for example silver metallic. Main colour, so we got an option of, we've got a standard colour, slightly darker, then the satin. I think that one might be the metallic, yeah. I think of those options I do prefer the satin, that's just me personally. There's a whole load of different ones to choose from. Like that. Design colour, before you click on that, for example, that does the bottom section of the cab. So you can mix and match or get it to match up exactly. It depends what you'd rather go for. Then we've got configuration for the axles. We've got a 6x2, we've got a 6x4, we've got an 8x2 and an 8x4. Then we've got design standard with an airfoil. Then radio antenna, front left, front right, or both, or neither. Then we've got arching no, or yes, which gives you that whole raised. Is that for unloading into higher up things? Maybe I'm trying to think. It's fixed. I don't think that adjusts. And then we've got decoration lanterns, which is on the back. Then engine setup, the P310, which is 320 horsepower. The P340 at 340, the P410 at 410 horsepower. Then we've got front suspension, yes or no. Then glass colour, we've got clear glass or a dark tinted glass. So I went for a bit of kind of both. Now, as far as I recall, that one's got front suspension and the extra axle. That one hasn't got the front suspension, has only got the... That's the 6x4, that was the 8x4 I think I went for. So we'll drop in. Horn. Lights. It's kind of blue lights on the top. So, let's open this up because download caps. Now that's for the rear section. We'll get onto that in just a second. If I go to that, so lifting axle, L1 and X, puts that axle up out the way, or puts it back down again. If I put that up out the way, and then do open cover, this is this front suspension. Open cover, L1 and left on the D-pad. Whole thing drops right down. Pretty cool. Both front axles steer if you have the extra axle on. Let's lower the lift axle. There we go. Nothing crazy on the reverse alarms or anything like that. But I don't think we've got doors that open. But as you can see on the back section, we've got straps on that. But that's for the back. We'll have a look at that in just a sec. Inside. Nicely detailed. Not a lot going on the interior. Now, this way it gets a bit more interesting because we detach the back. Now, it's a weird one in that, yeah, wow, that's cool. Puts it on these blocks and barrels so you've got enough room to get underneath it, and these beams, and you can take the back off. But my question is, to what end? Because it hasn't got a fifth wheel on here. So I suppose you can have multiple backs around the place and just one lorry and then just go backwards and forwards and pick up the backs, I guess. But yeah, I suppose, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? That might be why. This one's got the grain back. And like I say, this hasn't got the option for this front suspension or the extra axle. Everything else is exactly the same. But this one, if I disconnect, that's got the grain back on it. And the grain back, when I've looked at this in just a second, was 30, I want to say 32,000 litres, of which I can open the cover like so. And unloading can be back, left or right. One of those days. Stop unloading. Close cover. That's just a point I wanted to go back onto this because I'll show you what the back does, and then so with the back on this, downloads caps, L1 and X, folds all those down for easier loading, and like I say, it does have straps. Fold those back up again. If I unload, it will open just the back section if you want to do it like that. It's an interesting one, that. So we've already looked at the truck cabs. The actual backs of this are under trailers. The AGM dry body, 18,000 to buy, 16 slots, which drops down to 1. It says it will take pretty much everything. The main colour can be changed exactly the same to mix and match with the cabs, or an alternating colour, or whatever you want to do. We can have bale loading wagon, or we can have capacity 35,000 litres. We can have short mudguard or long mudguard, which puts one right across the back. And then we can have arching, yes or no, which puts longer mudguards on if you've gone for the arching back on the actual main lorry itself. Those are the options on that. And that's what it does. The AGMP 310 plus Bodywork by Erik, Isac and AgrotMods. Moving on from there, we have got the Lizard 7 Subsoiler. This is by Xande and KayaMods. This is 2.15 megabytes download, 3 slots on console. You'll find it under Subsoilers. There you go. 3,500 to buy, 2.1 meters wide, will run at 9 miles per hour, requires 45 horsepower. You can have it in green or red. This will give you a ploughed state, but a cultivated look. I suppose cultivated state too, I suppose. We drop it down. Where we go, 2.1 meters. We are getting a ploughed state underneath, but it looks like it's been cultivated. That's the Subsoiler. Fairly quick, that one. The Lizard 7 Subsoiler by Xande and KayaMods. Next, we have got the P329/2. This by HajstelMods. This is a fertilizer or herbicide sprayer. Got a few of these lately. We've had trail ones and ones like this. Again, I'm thinking to myself, haven't we? We've already had this one, haven't we? But it's saying it's new. So let's go with that. L1 and X to open it up. I think this is I want to say 18 meters. I think it's 18 meters. Once opened out, we can raise and lower it. It's fairly slow on the raise and lowering. L1 and right stick up and down. As you can see, it's a bit slow, but it's got a winding handle on there. So you imagine you're doing it with a wire and hand winding. Then we turn it on. Doesn't have that kind of almost section control thing that we've seen on a few recently, where it starts spraying from the inside and works its way out, and then the same when you turn it off. It will hold 400 litres. Let's hold that back up again. This you'll find under crop protection. The P329/2, 3,200 to buy. Options available. We can change the design colour, which is the tank. We can change the main colour, which is all the framework. We've got a selection of reds. There's no other options really on that. A more glossy one or an older one. Then we've got old PTO or new PTO with the covers, if you want to protect yourself from injury. Adds a little bit more on the price, but you can't put a price on safety. There we go. The P329/2. Next, we've got the Vaderstad Rollex 620. This by Patesz modding and Lackó modding. Is that what I've got written down? Yes. 11.89 megabytes download. I didn't put down what the slot count was on this. The last one was 4.03 megabytes download. Sorry, I meant to say that for the sprayer. Now this comes in two formats. We've got it under weeders, and we've got it under fertilising technology. So if you want to do weeding but it will also fertilise, or you want to do fertilising which will also fertilise, although this cultivates as well, it's very peculiar. They've got some very sort of strange attributes to them. Actually, let's just double check something. 6 slots each for the first of those. So you'll find the first one under weeders, 6,450, 80 horsepower required. That will weed but it will give you a fertilising state as well. If we then go to actually fertiliser technology, we've got the other one, 6,450. That will give you a fertilising state, but it will also cultivate. But you don't have to cultivate if you don't want to. It's all very peculiar. Options available on that. You can have the Cambridge roller or you can have the cutter roller. So what we'll do, I'll show you what I mean. Now this drops straight down to the ground automatically. So once I open it, it unfolds onto the ground. And as you can see, it's already given me a fertilising state. It's got darker on the ground around it. Now this will weed, so if you've got weeds on the ground, as I go across the ground you can see it's going darker, so it is fertilising. I haven't even turned it on or anything. You can turn it on. I assume maybe that's for the weeding side of things, but I am getting fertilising whether it's turned on or not. So that's the first one, but when you fold it back up again you probably want to stop, because while you're folding, because it's still technically on the ground until the wheel's off the ground, it will still fertilise. As you can see, look, still kind of fertilising. It's a bit peculiar. Now if we move on to the other one, which is under fertiliser technology, I'm weeding and fertilising at the same time. Fantastic. Realistic or not? That's a debate for another time. So this one will drop down and do exactly the same thing. Now I can run this as it stands without doing anything or paying anything, and that is fertilising, as you can see, and that will fertilise at quite a pace as well. I can turn it on, which does the same thing, and I'm just getting fertilising, and away we go. But if I lower this now, so at that point it's not lowered. If I now lower it, L1 and circle, it will cultivate. If I'm cultivating at the same time, it will only run at 10 miles an hour. So this one will cultivate and fertilise, or fertilise, and so we've got a whole variety of options with these two, which are interesting to say the least. So if you don't want to pay for fertiliser, lift that up and over you go with your fields, and Bob's your uncle. Interesting couple of devices. The Vaderstad Rollex 620 by Patesz Modding and Lackó Modding, which I think brings me on to the last of the mods for the third. I think it's the last of the mods for the third. And it's this. This is also very nice indeed. Not a bad price, not a bad size. I like the option of the flag on there as well. I think that's pretty cool. We'll have a look at that as an option in just a second. This is the JohnDeere CCS 1990 by JA Modding. 11.31 megabytes download, 14 slots on console. As I've just said, it's by JA Modding. This you'll find under Seeders. I don't want to went so far past. Now this is not a direct drill, so you will need to cultivate or plough first. It will take 5,500 litres of seed. It won't seed and fertilise, it just seeds. But this is a 13.4 metre seeder for 40,000. 40,177 for a 13.4 metre. That's amazing. Absolutely brilliant. Options available. We can have standard design. We can have an American flag or a Brazilian flag. Then design, standard or auxiliary lights, which puts a light on the back. Those are the options. Requires 275 horsepower to run. I think for the price, it's amazing. Does your regular seeding crops. The power lights, so you see it was auxiliary light out the back as well. This doesn't have a rear trailer hitch or anything like that. Unfolding the sower. That. If I once open the seed box, L1 and left on the D-pad, opens up 5,500 litres of whatever you want to put in it. Now, it's fairly wide even when it's folded up, but I suppose at this width it's supposed to be for sort of larger, more open areas, but drops it down. And away we go. everything moving underneath there. Very nice indeed. So there we go. That's the JohnDeere CCS 1990 by JA Modding. And that is, I think, the last of the mods for the third. Now, it depends if you watch my one from the second as well, or for the second. I think new mods have already dropped today at the time of doing this. Now, on my mod review that I did for the second, the JohnDeere DB90 2004 by JHHG Modding was out, and I said that I was worried because there was a problem with the seeding side of things. That's had an update today, and that for not the third but the fourth, it does say seed usage big fixes, well, that's bug fixes. So potentially that has been sorted, but I will get onto that one as soon as I can. That's it for the mods for the 3rd of March. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. As always, thanks for watching.